Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller, and today I shall attempt to answer the age-old question. And yes, that pun was very much intentional. So let's talk Pokemon. Yes, the second most successful video game franchise of all time, losing only to Super Mario Bros., and perhaps the most successful anime of all time. It certainly influenced many people, and whether or not you like the show, you can't deny that you know Ash Ketchum and Pikachu. Now, I can't show clips from the anime because that would make this video get terminated, so I'll have to rely on snapshots to help me with this video. Hopefully you'll be entertained enough to sit down and watch the whole thing. So, Ash Ketchum, Ash Ketchum, Ash Ketchum. Nowadays, many people dislike this character, but you can't deny that he has accomplished many different things. Although he doesn't catch them all like the slogan says, he's still an iconic Pokemon character. Heck, an iconic character in everything. But there's a common question that circulates around the internet. How is Ash Ketchum still 10 years old? Most people just deny the fact that he can still be 10, but I shall try and see if this famous video game character can still remain the same age. Yes, after the anime has been running for longer than a decade, the anime still seems to claim that Ash Ketchum is still 10 years old. Now, many cartoons do something similar. For example, The Simpsons is iconic for having the character remain the same age for several decades. However, Pokemon and The Simpsons are obviously two different shows. One is American influenced and focuses on comedy, while the other is Japanese influenced and mainly focuses on providing an episode every week. Now, unlike The Simpsons, Pokemon episodes are episodic, meaning that the events of one episode do take place after another episode, and that the plot develops even further with each following episode. As such, there is clearly time passing with each episode, and characters should be getting older. In creating an episode almost every week for over a decade, it could just be mistaken on the creator's part that Ash should have aged. But I'm here to see if that was a mistake, or if that's still possible. In order to do that, though, I will have to go through each individual episode of the anime and see if there is enough time to where he should have aged by at least a year. But before I do that, I will have to set a few rules. I know people say that one should never assume things, but a few assumptions will be necessary in order to determine Ash's proper age. So let's assume that the year in the Pokemon world is the same as the length of a year in our world, with a year being 365 days. But just in case, let's assume that this was a leap year, and that it's actually 366 days. It may be fair to assume that because the original Pokemon games came out in 1996, which was a leap year. Yes, the anime first debuted in Japan in 1997, but let's just give Ash the extra day, just in case. Let's also assume the day he started his journey was on his birthday, since there isn't an exact date given on that day, and too many additional assumptions would be needed to determine when his birthday actually is. So let's assume that the day he wakes up and goes out on his Pokemon journey is his birthday. I'm also not counting unaired episodes. I'll count episodes that aired in Japan and not America, but the Christmas episode will not be counted because that episode is no longer allowed to air due to Jinx's racial issues and whatever. Now, in terms of determining the time between episodes, I shall do it this way. You may disagree with this, but please just hear me out. If a character talks about how much time has passed, such as, "Wow, it's been a year since I was last here," then that will not be counted. We are going to give Ash as much of a chance as he can possibly get, just so he can see if it's possible or not. For all we know, maybe everyone's just exaggerating how much time has passed. However, if a character talks about an event that's coming up in the future, such as saying, "The Pokemon League is 2 months away," then that will be counted. That's an event that's coming up, and as such, can be used to determine how much time has passed between episodes. That's an event that's being foreshadowed, so that can accurately be used to determine how much time has passed. Additionally, certain episodes may take place on the same day. For example, the first 2 episodes obviously take place on the same day, and if there's no clear time lapse between 2 episodes, then, for all we know, they occurred on the same day. Lastly, I will only attempt to calculate Ash's age between the first episode of the anime to the first episode of the Black and White series, and here's why. The first episode of the Black and White series states that Ash Ketchum is still 10, but for all we know, Ash could have gone to the Unova region as a birthday present, because there is no episode after that that states that he's still 10. So for all we know, he could have been turning 11 the following day. Look, I know that these assumptions are getting ridiculous, but I'm gonna give Ash as many possible chances as possible. Oh, and movies won't be counted. Sorry. Alright, now that all of those assumptions have been settled, let's see if Ash Ketchum is still a 10-year-old boy. Now, at the time of this video, there are about 800 episodes of the Pokemon anime. However, if the Black and White series is not counted, then I'm really only calculating about 660 episodes of the anime. Now, I'm gonna rewatch certain episodes, but I'm not gonna rewatch the episodes in full. I'm gonna fly through snapshots and speed watch videos to determine how much time has passed. All I'm checking is to see if there's a transition between day and night, and so on and so forth. Since Unova's not counted, it's possible that Ash traveled across 4 different regions in 12 months, averaging about 1 region for every 3 months. But let's get to the actual calculations. I'm sure that that's what you guys came to see. So the first episode starts off during the nighttime, but I'm assuming that Ash turned 10 on the start of his journey, which would be the following day. So yay, he's 10 years old. So I'll have a little thing in the corner to keep track of everything. So here we go. Going through the first episode, there's no indication of a day change, so he's still 10. So the second episode takes place at the nighttime. But by the time another day has passed. It also ends during a sunset. Now, here is where some things get confusing. The Christmas episode airs next, followed by Snow Way Out. The Christmas episode won't be counted, I mentioned why earlier, but Snow Way Out shall be, even though both of these episodes are technically aired out of order. So, Snow Way Out, which is considered to be episode 66. This episode starts off in the morning. I won't count it as another day though, since this episode is out of order and it's hard to tell if the previous episode ended at nighttime or a sunset or something. However, this episode soon goes to nighttime as a blizzard strikes. This episode becomes daytime again, so now a day has passed. This episode ends during the daytime. Episode 67, it's daytime, but Ash is clearly seen waking up, so a day must have passed. This episode ends during the daytime, but Ash is informed that the Kanto League is 2 months away. That means that any episode from this one to the start of the Pokemon League takes place in the span of 2 months, no matter what. This is episode 67, and Kanto's Indigo Pokemon League technically begins on episode 76, which is when the flame is lit. So episodes 68 to 75 take place in the span of 2 months. Now, 2 months is usually 61 days. One could argue that it could be 59 or 60 days due to February having a different number of days in a month, or it could also be 62 days if we look at December and January, or July and August. There was some snow in an episode, and there was even a Christmas episode that I didn't count, but there was also lots of rain, which would imply that this all takes place during the winter. However, lots of episodes featured broad daylight, and Ash and his friends rode a variety of cruise ships. This leads me to believe that rather than it being in winter, the season is spring, and that means that, no matter what, 2 months would mean 61 days. as there are no 2 months in spring that can make it add up to any other number. So now I shall add 61 days to the counter thing in the corner. Now, on to episode 76. It's daytime at the start of this episode. The day soon approaches nighttime, and Ash awakens the following day for the start of the Indigo Pokemon League, meaning that another day has passed. Episode 77. Now, I imagine that each of Ash's Pokemon battles takes place on a separate day, and if that's the case, Ash has participated in 4 battles, and that means 4 days have passed. Now, on to episode 80. Ash has passed his 4 battles. I guess that this means this is some sort of rest day. It soon becomes nighttime, but then it's morning again, so another day has passed. The episode ends at a sunset. Episode 81, it's nighttime. It becomes daytime. Another day has passed as a result. It's nighttime again. Episode ends. Episode 82, and the next episode, it's daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. It soon becomes sunset, and then the closing ceremonies begin. It's hard to tell if the closing ceremonies take place on the same day, but assuming that each round of the tournament is held on a different day, there would be a maximum of 2 additional days between this episode's sunset and the closing ceremonies, as Richie lost his quarterfinal battle. What the hell, I'll add 2 more days to the thing in the corner. Episode 83, it's daytime. Another day has passed. The episode ends at sunset. Episode 84, this episode begins the daytime. Episode 113, the Orange League. It's daytime, then sunset, then daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. This episode leaves at a cliffhanger, but it's still daylight. Episode 114, a direct continuation from the previous episode, and it's still daylight, and it's daylight throughout the entire episode. Episode 115, it's daylight until the end, where the episode ends at a sunset. Episode 116, it's daylight now, meaning that another day has passed since the previous episode. It's sunset, and then daylight again, meaning that another day has passed. The episode ends. Episode 117, the episode ends at a cliffhanger, and it's still daytime. Episode 118, a direct continuation from the previous episode. Still daytime, and then becomes nighttime. Ash wakes up, another day has passed as a result. Now Ash is off to Johto. Johto, episode 1, or episode 119 in total. This episode starts off during the daytime and ends at a sunset. Episode 2, this episode starts off during the daytime, and since the previous episode ended at a sunset, this means that another day has passed. This episode also ends at a sunset. Episode 3... This episode is daytime throughout all of it. Episode 62, daytime still, it becomes sunset, it becomes daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. The episode ends during the daytime. Okay, now Johto episode 63, or episode 181 in total, is considered to be the Mewtwo Returns movie according to the list that I'm using. And although the first movie is considered canon, despite everyone getting their memory wiped, I will not count this movie as canon. The animation for this movie is done digitally, and the anime didn't go digital until the end of the Johto saga. So this leads me to believe that the movie was animated separately from the rest of the episodes, and was probably just a TV movie instead of a theatrical release. So while this episode and the next two parts are counted as episodes 63, 64, and 65 respectively, I should not count any of them. Next episode. Episode 66, this episode is mostly daytime, but it ends in a sunset. Episode 67, this episode starts off during the daytime, and since the previous episode ended in a sunset, this also means that another day has passed. This episode also ends in a sunset. Episode 68, this episode is daytime once again, and since the previous episode ended in a sunset, this means that another day has passed. This episode also ends in a sunset. Episode 69, it's daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. This episode ends during the day for Ash, and it ends at sunset for Team Rocket, so let's just say that this episode ended at sunset. Episode 70, or episode 188. It's daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. Episode 96. It's daytime now, meaning that another day has passed. It's nighttime, then it's daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. This episode ends during the daytime. Episode 97. Now here's the thing. Ash and Misty enter the World Cup, which is said to take place in a month. The World Cup actually begins 6 episodes later, which is episode 103 of Johto, or episode 220 in total. So any Johto episodes between 97 and 102 all take place in the span of a month. Anywho, on to Johto episode 103. Episode 103, it's daytime again. It becomes nighttime. It becomes daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. This episode ends at sunset. Episode 104, it's daytime now, and since the previous episode ended in a sunset, that means that another day has passed. It becomes nighttime. It becomes daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. It becomes nighttime again, and then daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. It becomes sunset. It becomes daytime yet again, so yet another day has passed. The episode ends during the daytime. I think that's the most amount of days for one episode. But anywho, episode 105, it's daytime, then it's nighttime, then it's daytime again, meaning that another day has passed. This episode ends during the daytime. And I think I'm gonna end this day counter thingy here. As of now, it's been 269 days. However, once Ash defeats Gym Leader Claire, which is dozens of episodes away, mind you, Claire states that Johto's Silver Pokemon League is 3 months away.
Officially, it's referred to as the Johto League Silver Conference.
Really? The Silver Conference?
Claire, do you know when and where the conference is gonna be? Yes, it'll take place 3 months from now in Silvertown, at the foot of Mount Silver.
Sounds good to me. Yeah! Silvertown, here I come!
But Ash, you heard what Claire said. It's still 3 months away. Can we at least finish our breakfast first?
If we're not using February in this example, 3 months will add up to 91 or 92 days. Our current amount of days is before Ash has even fought Claire, and with 91 days added to the counter, that puts our total at 361 days. And I haven't even counted the Pokemon League itself yet, which I imagine takes at least 5 days. So even with all these ridiculous rules, Ash Ketchum should have aged by at least 1 year prior to the Black and White series. So how is Ash Ketchum still 10? Well, I see it as one of two things. Firstly, it's most likely just an error. No ridiculous theories like him being in a coma or possessing the life of those that travel with him, just an oversight. Cartoons make mistakes, and with every show trying to create an episode with fresh content every week, specifically Pokemon, which has been doing it for over a decade, the creators are probably less concerned with keeping track of the amount of days passed than they are with making sure that the Pokemon they draw is drawn correctly. Secondly, maybe it's not an error at all. In fact, maybe it's a completely intentional decision. Hear me out. Each Pokemon saga has tried something different in order to attract both new and returning fans. The Black and White series does this a lot, and it's obvious that they're doing so. Ash scans everything with his Pokedex so that new fans can understand what the Pokemon is, regardless of it being Generation 1 or Generation 5. Ash makes ridiculous battle decisions because the creators are trying to show that, well, he's learning how to battle just like he did in the original series, and that way, new fans can learn too. And because this series is trying to act similarly to the original Pokemon saga, Ash is the same age as a result. So now I return to the question that started this video. Is Ash Ketchum still 10 years old? From a scientific and logical standpoint, no. But from a creator and a fan standpoint, the answer is yes. The creators wanted him to be 10, so he's 10. Whether it's an overlooked error or an intentional decision, Ash Ketchum is still 10. Despite Ash's poor battle decisions as of late and some of the anime episodes becoming dull and dry, I still respect Ash Ketchum as a character, and Pokemon will always have a special place in my heart. All in all, Ash Ketchum's age is determined based on whether or not the fans accept the creator's decision or see it as an error. But to me, Ash Ketchum is still 10 years old.